There's something in your life right now that feels like it's taking way longer than it should. And the question sitting quietly in your mind is, if God is so powerful, why is this still not happening? Be honest. How many of you feel like maybe God is saying no? Not wait, not soon, but no. Let me tell you something that might shift everything. Sometimes it's not no, it's not you. And sometimes it's just not yet. There's a moment in the Bible that most people don't talk about deeply. King David, one of the greatest leaders ever, had a dream. He wanted to build a temple for God. And if anyone deserved to do it, it was him. He wrote songs for God. He fought battles for God. He led people for God. So naturally, he thought, why not build God's house too? Even the prophet initially said, yeah, go ahead, that sounds right. But then something unexpected happened. God stopped the prophet, and the next day, everything changed. The prophet came back to David and said, I prayed about it, and God didn't say no. He said, not you. Think about how heavy that must have felt. Not because the dream was wrong, not because the intention was bad, but because he wasn't the one chosen to complete it. God told him, your son Solomon will build it. And David had to accept something most people can't handle. He would prepare a vision that someone else would complete. He spent the rest of his life gathering materials, setting things up, for a reward he would never personally see. That's not the kind of message people like to hear. It doesn't hype you up. It humbles you. But here's the truth. God is not just a miracle worker. He is also a teacher, and a real teacher knows something most people don't. You don't teach by rushing. You teach by slowing things down. Think about it like this. If someone is showing off how fast they can do something, you don't learn anything. But when they slow it down, step by step, that's when it clicks. That's when you grow. Now look at your life again. You prayed for patience, and suddenly everything started taking longer. You asked to become stronger, and life got harder. You asked to become better, and now everything feels slower. That's not punishment. That's training. God is not going slow because he can't do it. He's going slow because you're still learning how to handle it. There's another moment, a wedding. They run out of wine. And in that culture, that wasn't just inconvenient, it was embarrassing. It was shameful. So they come to Jesus and say, we're out. And here's the strange part. Jesus doesn't immediately fix it. He doesn't snap his fingers. He doesn't create instant results. Instead, he gives instructions. Fill the jars with water. Now pause for a second. This is urgent. People are waiting. Why not fix it instantly? Why not make it easy? Why not skip the process? Because the lesson was in the process. The servants had to go to the well, fill buckets, carry them back, pour them into jars, again and again and again. Each jar took multiple trips. Heavy work, repetitive work, seemingly pointless work. And nothing was changing. No sign of a miracle, just effort, with no visible result. Now imagine being there. You filled one jar. You're tired. You're thinking, okay, can we use this now? But the answer is no. Fill the next one. Then the next. Then the next. Until all 6 jars were filled to the very top. Here's the part most people miss. The miracle didn't happen halfway. It didn't happen when they got tired. It didn't happen when they felt like quitting. It happened after everything was filled. That means they had to keep going even when nothing was changing. They had to keep trusting even when it didn't make sense. They had to keep working without seeing results. Sound familiar? That's your life right now. You're putting in effort. You're trying again. You're showing up. And it feels like nothing is happening. But here's what you don't see. Every time you pour another bucket, something is changing. Not outside, inside. Your patience is growing. Your discipline is building. Your faith is strengthening. And then, at the moment you feel like I can't do this one more time. That's often the moment God says, now. Not when it was easy, not when it was convenient, not when it made sense, but when you became ready. See, we think delays are rejection, but they're not. They're preparation. You thought God ignored you, but He was building you. You thought you were falling behind, but you were being trained. And here's the hardest truth to accept. God making things easy is not always kind. Because if you got everything instantly, you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't learn, you wouldn't be able to handle what you asked for. So instead, He slows it down. Not to frustrate you, but to form you. At that wedding, there's one simple line that changes everything. Mary says, "Do whatever He tells you." That's it. No overthinking, no calculations, just obedience. We complicate life so much. I don't have enough time. I'm not ready. I don't have the resources. But the formula is simple. Do what you're told, in the moment you're in. Because here's the reality. If you rely only on what you see, you'll quit. But if you trust the process, you'll grow. Those servants didn't see the miracle forming. They just followed instructions. And that's what positioned them to witness something impossible. And maybe that's what God is trying to teach you right now. Stop trying to control the outcome. Stop trying to rush the timing. Stop trying to understand everything. Just focus on the next step. Because sometimes the thing you think is rejection is actually protection. The thing you think is delay is actually development. And the thing you think is no is actually God saying, "You're not ready yet." So don't quit. Not now. Not when you're this close. Keep pouring. Keep showing up. Keep trusting. Because when the jars are finally full, that's when everything changes. And when it does, you'll realize something powerful. God was never late. You were just being prepared for something bigger than you imagined.